Hello everybody, how's it going? Meister here and welcome to Manor Lords. I've been playing this game ever since its release and I've been wanting to make videos on it for quite some time, but I felt like I just needed a little bit of practice. I needed to get things down pat before I felt like I was able to make videos on it because, you know, I like my videos to be at least somewhat entertaining and I want to have a general idea of what I'm doing. And I'm not really that great at strategy games. And this is kind of like a strategy slash city builder game. It kind of combines the two genres together and it makes for a really fun and interesting game. So let's jump right into it. We're going to start a new game here. And when you do that, the first thing that you must do is to create your empire. So you need to create a coat of arms. You need to choose a portrait. And this is the coat of arms that I'm going to go with, and this is representative of the Acadian flag. If you guys are familiar with the Acadians, I myself am Acadian, and that basically means that I'm descendant from the French. We were amongst the first populations to colonize Eastern Canada. So we're going with that. We're going with the whole Acadian theme. And as far as my portrait, I think I'm going to go with this guy here. He looks pretty French, right? And we're going to change the name to something a bit more appropriate. I think I'm just going to do Timotheus. How about that? Not exactly French, but it is a pretty fitting name, I would say. It's quite medieval. So we're going to go ahead with that. So let's continue here. Now, we have a bunch of presets that we can choose from, and we do have an end goal by default of domination. This basically means we need to conquer the entire map to win the game, but I'm going to change this to none. Now I want to treat this game a little bit more as a city builder more than a combat related game. There's going to be combat regardless, but at least by setting the end goal to none, we can just pretty much play as long as we want. So let's jump into the game here and we'll see how things go. So I'm a pacifist. I tend to be a pacifist in any strategy game that I play. I did play quite a bit of Civilization in my day and I always tend to be the peaceful type. So I'm not going to be in a big rush to get into any combat. So here we are in our brand new settlement. So we appear to be kind of in the middle of nowhere, I think. Let's see where we are on the map. Now, the map is divided up into all of these different sections. You can see here that I'm this red section, and then there's these two yellow sections, and these two zones are claimed by a foreign empire. Now, eventually, given enough time, different empires, or even this one, is going to start to claim some more land, and you know, even though we have none as our end goal, we're going to want to claim some more land, and that means that we might have to... We might go into some sort of conflict with some foreign powers because I only have this set of resources. And these resources are finite. Some are not. You know, these berries, for example, and these hunting grounds are replenishing. You know, the animals repopulate. The berries come back every season. But, you know, clay, for example, once we mine it all, there's nothing left. We have a pretty rich iron deposit, which is kind of convenient, and then a small stone deposit as well. But once all of these resources run out, we're going to have to seek elsewhere for them. Now, this is kind of convenient, I would say. A lot of these resources are very closely packed together, and this is going to be a blessing and a curse. So it's going to make it nice and convenient because my population doesn't have to go too far out to collect these resources, but that just means that we're going to go through them a lot quicker. And all of these resources, by the way, serve a purpose. So let's get into that. Let's start our town. And I'm going to go into this series assuming that you guys are somewhat familiar with the game, but I'm still going to take the time to explain what I'm doing, what I'm working on, and the basic mechanics of the game as I go along here. So we have our settlement, and in our settlement we have various supplies, various resources. You know, we have some timber, we have some food, And this food is reflected up here in my resources bar. So we have some stone, some tools, some timber, and then we also have 20 bread. And food is very important because, of course, you need to feed your population, but it becomes even more important when you factor in seasons. So much like City Skylines 2, there are seasons in this game, and we're in spring now, in March. So we have all summer to collect food, all the resources we need to survive the winter. And the winter, of course, has its own set of challenges. So I kind of like this spawn over here, guys. We're up on a hill, and we're overlooking a beautiful valley with a creek running through it. So aesthetically, this is really nice, but strategically, it's very convenient as well. So let's jump right into it. Let's start to build some things. I'm going to start with a granary, because what's happening right now is my food is stored outside, and if it begins to rain at some point, this food may become damaged, and you certainly don't want that, because this is only what I have at the moment. Now you can see that I do have a lumber stockpile, and this ox has just collected a piece of lumber out of it, and it's going to transport it over to my granary. So everything in this game has a purpose. There's nothing in the game that is not there aesthetically, apart from, like, you know, maybe these little stubs and rocks and things, but like every piece of lumber is physically there. I got 7 pieces of lumber. I got 6 now because the 7th was just picked up by this ox, and it needs to be physically transported over to this construction site. And this will eventually become my granary. So I need 2 timber, and I need 3 stone. So there it is. We have all the timber we need, and now we just need to collect stone, which I do. Yeah, okay, so I have a little bit of a stockpile here in my starting settlement. So if I look up here in my resources bar, I guess we'll call it, this is my population. So I have 5 families that I'm spawning with, and they're all unassigned at the moment, which means they're all, I guess, kind of assigned to construction. But for example, when I finish this granary, I'll be able to assign a family to operate it. So I'll go over that in just a second here once we complete our granary. And for now, I'm just going to continue plopping down some more buildings to get us started. So I'm going to put down a storehouse. This is going to enable us to store all kinds of materials, timber, stone, whatever. You know, it'll protect all of our building resources from the elements. And I'm also going to have to build some homes. So these little red tags here are kind of a good indication of what you need to focus on, most importantly. So we need to store our goods, we need to store our food, and we need to provide housing for our population. So let's build a few burgage plots here to get started with. Now, I don't have a lot of resources, so I'm going to be quite limited in what I can build. So I can't even build 3 houses at the moment. I'm going to need to shrink this burgage plot a little bit. Can I build 2 houses perhaps? Yes, I can. Perfect. Now these burgage plots, they of course provide housing for your city, but they also have a kind of bonus area in the back here. So this little chunk of land here, so this is the actual house that's going to be built. There's also an expansion slot, so we can build kind of like a guest house or an in-law suite if we need to fit more people into the city. But then in the back here, so the back portion of this lot, this is what allows you to actually build kind of like a specialty lot. So we can have some chickens, for example, or maybe a little carrot pasture. And the size of this lot will determine the yield of that thing. So let's go ahead with 2 houses for now to get ourselves started. That's not going to be enough because we need 5. We have 5 families in town, and each family is going to be assigned to a burgage plot. But we'll at least get started with that. And as we collect more and more resources, we'll continue building. So I got a message here. What does this say? I have heard of your renown. I only seek to defend my rights and my honor against those who would wrong me. Okay, so it appears that one of the neighboring empires is sending me some notes, telling them not to encroach on their territory. But that's fine, you know, we have plenty of other land that we can claim. All right, so let's continue building here. I'm, of course, going to want to build a logging camp pretty soon here. Oh, I don't have enough goods right now. Okay, I seem to have made a bit of a mistake here right off the bat. I'm going to demolish one of these burgage plots to refund my resources, and that is going to allot me enough resources to build a logging camp, which I think really the only suitable location right now would be over here. Now, technically I should have started with the logging camp. This is one of the most important buildings, as this is what collects lumber for building pretty much anything. Almost every building in the game requires lumber, and without it, you're not going to go very far. So really, that is the first building that you should get into. Okay, so our granary is complete, and let's go back into the whole families situation. So although my granary is complete, it's not functional until I assign a family to it. So I'm going to do that right now, and it's going to take a family from my unassigned pool. So now I only have 4 unassigned families, and now what's going to happen is the family that is assigned to the granary is going to start taking the food from my stockpile here and storing it away, protecting it from the elements. But then that takes away from my 4, I guess for my 5 unassigned people, and you need unassigned people because they are the ones who will construct your building. So you always want to have at least 1 or 2 unassigned families, ensuring that things get built. So I'm going to assign a second family to the storehouse. And now we have 3 unassigned families, which means most of them are probably going to begin constructing this logging camp, which only needs 2 timber, so it should be fairly easily done. Now, to make things a bit quicker here, I'm just going to accelerate the simulation. Oh, okay, so this is another thing too. So I can collect all the resources I want, but I need to be able to sell them to my population so they can actually use them. So my population is calling for market stalls to be built. So I'm going to, where is that? Is that an industry farming? Where is that? A set zone. And then the size of this zone will determine how many market stalls can be built. But to get started, this is big enough for now. So the families that are operating both the storehouse and the granary are going to set up market stalls. So we have a food stall and a firewood stall. Firewood is essential for home heating. Now, if I check in my resources here up on the top, I do have, oh, wait a minute, it's here. Yeah, so I have 15 months left of fuel, which is a lot. I'm pretty much good for the rest of the year. However, as the city expands, of course, the demand for this fuel is going to increase. So pretty soon, I'm going to have to start collecting more of it. And food, you can see here that I only have 3 months worth of food. So I don't even have enough to survive the rest of the summer. So I'm going to want to build a berry forager hut. Over here. Oh, geez, this area looks quite hilly, so not really suitable for anything. Okay, so I don't even have enough goods. So we're going to have to wait until the logging camp is complete, because I appear to be completely out of timber. And then we're also going to want to build a hunting cabin as well. Oh, okay, so my logging camp is complete. I'm going to assign a family to it. And then these folks are going to immediately begin chopping down some trees, allowing us to build new things. And again, guys, everything in this game is physicalized. So as you can see, this person over here, Ott, is actually chopping down a tree right onto the camp. Very nice. It's kind of hard to see, but anyway, so my Ott person here has chopped down a tree, and they're going to cut it up into logs, and then these logs are going to be turned into an actual usable material, so it can be transported by ox to wherever it needs to go. And like I was saying earlier, the only people who can actually transport a material via ox is an unassigned person. Now, trees, much like in real life, are a finite resource. So eventually this whole forest is going to get chopped down. Now, there's various things that you can do about that, which we don't have to worry about for quite a while, but we're eventually probably going to need to place a forester's hut. And what this does is your people are going to go out and plant new trees. So they're going to replenish the forest. But I mean, we have a ton of trees over here. I'm not really worried about that. There is one thing that I want to make sure of, though. Let me go into advanced, and I'm going to limit my work area to, I think it's control. Yeah. I want to limit my work area to this zone. I'm going to make that big enough because I don't want my people to start chopping down trees anywhere near my wild animals and my berries, because that'll actually reduce the amount that we have available. So I'm going to build a forager's hut. Actually, I think what I'll do is build a road that goes right up to it. We're going to make things a bit more efficient. I'm going to plop it right outside of the foragery, or of the berry deposit. And I'm also going to build a hunting camp just outside of the hunting area. Now you're probably asking yourself, okay, well, what's going to happen once all of my buildings are built up and I assign all of my people? Well, we're going to have to increase our population, and the only way to do that is to increase our approval, and the only way to do that is to provide everything that my people want. So right now, the biggest thing that is preoccupying my population is homelessness. So we're going to want to expand in order to provide enough housing for everyone. That should provide us with just enough approval, so then we can start getting some more people into town. And I really like this tree here in the middle. I'm hoping they don't chop it down. They probably will, though, because it's well within the circle. Maybe I should have made it a bit smaller, but that's okay. Alright, so my hunting camp is complete. We're going to want to assign a family to it. And then my forager's hut is also complete, but I don't want to assign anybody to it yet, just because I don't want to have any unassigned population, because then nothing will get built. So in the meantime, I think I'm just going to build up a little bit. I'm going to build a road surrounding my markets here, and that'll just allow me to build all kinds of buildings around it. We'll make kind of a nice little downtown here. You know, because although this is a very strategic game, it can be played as an aesthetic city builder, as you would in City Skylines, for example. And that's really my style. I like to keep things aesthetic whilst keeping things as functional as possible. So my goal right now is just to build enough homes so that I can increase my approval rating. Actually, you know what I might do? I'm going to take a bit of a gamble. So right now we have 3 months worth of food. I'm going to unassign this family from my hunter's cabin. So I'm going to stop collecting food altogether, and I'm going to focus on construction right now. So right now my priority is housing everybody and then we'll get into food production. We'll double down, and then we'll hopefully collect enough food to survive the winter. Now, berries are a seasonal thing. So as you can see here, my berries are still growing. They're pretty much fully grown now because I have 128 out of 128. Animals, they get replenished year-round. So worst case, if I do run out of food, I can at least rely on animal hunting. However, there's only 20 of them, and you still want to impose a hunting limit. I usually keep things at around 10, which is the default, because if you let the population fall too low, the animals won't be able to reproduce quick enough and they'll actually die out. You know, you don't want to over hunt your deposit. New mercenary company available. So you can hire mercenaries as well. This is not really something that I've ever gotten into, because most of the time you can get away with just using your regular population. So a bit later in the game, we'll get into armies and that aspect of the game. But yeah, the way combat works is quite unique in this game. So there we go. We got two construction zones going on at once. This one here is on the verge of being complete. We have all the goods required. Over here, we're just missing a piece of lumber. Oh, okay, so it looks like a family has a new child. So let's take this burgage plot, for example. Right now, it's not specialized. It provides housing, and that's about it. So I can expand my living space if I really needed to, giving me, you know, some extra slots for extra people to move in, or I can construct a specialty. And right now, I have the choice of 3 different things. And the reason why all of these are locked is economic. So right now I just can't afford any of these. But I can do either a vegetable garden, which provides us a bit of a food boost. That's usually what I like to do early in the game. I can do chickens, which gives us a passive yield of eggs. Kind of the same thing, but a bit more expensive. So this costs us 25 gold, and I only have 50 at the moment. And we'll get into the whole economy a bit later on. Or I could do a goat shed, and this will provide us with hides, which is not really that much of a huge concern at the moment. Hides can be used to build clothes and armor, all those kind of things. But I'm going to start with a vegetable garden. I think I'm going to do the same for these 2 burgage plots, just to ensure that we have enough food to survive the winter. That's really the biggest concern early game. As you can see, I am down to 2 months of food reserves, so we're going to want to focus on food production here pretty soon. But right now, I just want to get enough housing for everybody. Oh, it looks like we're just missing 1 more home. I think I'm just going to build it over here. Let's do maybe like a 3 plot. Nope, maybe a 2 plot. That should be good. Now this is kind of a weird haphazard layout I got going on here. Sometimes I'll go with like a nice grid pattern, but this is the medieval times, right? So here, maybe I'll do another burgage plot. I think I'll have no choice but to build it like this because I want to have that expansion slot. Unless, can I build it? Yeah, I guess I could do that.
Come on, come along.
There, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna concentrate all of my, I guess, production buildings within the central square here, and then all around it, I'll do housing. I think that's a fair layout. So what I mean by production housing is eventually we'll get into like windmills, communal ovens, all kinds of, you know, specialty buildings, things like that. But yeah, we'll start off with this. So right off the bat, my ox is doing its thing, bringing all the necessary resources. And then, oh yeah, another thing too is each building has its own stockpile. So you can see here that my log storage is actually getting quite full. So you need to be mindful of that. It appears that I've used up all of my my stockpile of wood here. So we're just relying on this now. So I'm running out of food. I only have 1 month worth of food. So I am going to wait until this burgage plot is complete. Okay, so we have all the necessary resources, so it's only a matter of a couple of seconds before this burgage plot is complete. And I just want to wait until it is complete before assigning a family to my hunting grounds over here. So there we go. So let's assign a family. Let's go hunting. What do we have here? Okay, so we have some new materials. Oh, let's get this new message out of the way. Armament delivery. A strong militia is paramount to the survival of any settlement. Luckily, a shipment of weapons has just arrived. Oh, nice. Okay. So we'll be able to create our very own militia banners. Okay, so yeah, we'll need to start producing some weapons here eventually, because whether or not we want it, combat is a part of this game, and you'll have to get into some altercations at some point. But anyways, there we go. So we have enough housing, not enough supplies. Okay, so that's the main issue now. We just need to collect enough supplies. Once we have that in check, our approval rating should go up. Now, I'm not 100% certain of how this works. So homelessness, although is no longer a problem, it still appears here as an issue within like the last 30 days. So I think we'll have to wait a month before this homelessness debuff goes away. I think that's how that works. But anyways, we got a nice little settlement going on here already. Our little tents are gone. Everybody's nice and housed. We have a hitching post here. I'll go over what that does. So a hitching post is what allows you to park an ox, and we can buy another ox at any point. And it's eventually going to be an essential thing because, you know, we're going to start expanding at such a rate where one ox is just not able to keep up. But we're far from that now. One ox is just fine. But yeah, a hitching post is essential. So we're into May now. I'm just going to increase the simulation speed once again. And as you can see, our people here are in the process of planting their carrots. So they're going to do that. Should we assign... Oh, I don't have enough money now to get any other type of resource. So I think we're going to save our money for now. And then once we actually start trading and getting more money, then we'll do that. So actually, you know what? I think now is a good time. Let's see here. Oh yeah, a well. I'm gonna need a well. Actually, I think this is a pretty decent location for a well. Right downtown, right in the middle of the center square. Of course, my people need water. So I think it's time that I build a trading post, and this is what is going to allow us to eventually start making money. So we have our resources, and once we start to produce, let's say some roof tiles, for example. I notice we have a clay deposit over here. Roof tiles are kind of a mid-game resource, so perhaps we could sell off a couple of these in the early game to make a ton of cash. Or actually, you know what? We have a massive iron deposit, so that might actually be a better choice. We're probably never going to get through this. So we can sell some iron to make a ton of money, and then with that, we can provide all the necessary upgrades to our buildings. So there we go, guys. Our food stockpile is 2 months now, so we're slowly collecting food. But then our wild animal resources are going down. So it's going to stop automatically at 10. And then at that point, we're probably going to want to reallocate our families to our berry deposit over here. Although I'm not building anything at the moment. I don't necessarily need anything right now. I actually have a few houses extra for any new populations that want to come to town. Oh, but I'm running out of fuel, it appears. So let's build a woodcutter's lodge as quick as possible. And we're going to convert our timber into firewood once this building is complete. So I'm gonna assign this building to high priority. So then my ox is going to rush and construct this building first. So we can see here that my trading post is no longer being constructed, and they're going to prioritize my woodcutter's lodge. So fuel really is as important as food. Without fuel, your buildings won't be able to operate, and I'm really not sure what'll happen long term to them if you don't replenish your food. What the heck is this? This is a big log or something. Oh, this might be. I think this is just aesthetic. Ooh, I think I can go here. Cosmetic, erase shrubbery. Yeah, there we go. You can just clear that log. I thought it was functional, but I guess not. Oh, okay. So my ox has delivered everything required to build the woodcutter's lodge, and now it's back to collecting resources for the trading post. And here's our people just working away here. I love the detail in this game, guys. It is unreal. Like, you can zoom in right up close. The graphics are insane. And you can zoom out, and you know, it looks just as beautiful. It's barely any noticeable transition between these two. So there we go. Actually, wait, I'm gonna unassign these folks. So okay, go back to building the trading post, and then once the trading post is complete, I'll assign a family to the woodcutter's lodge. I'm not too concerned about fuel for the summer. You know, it's warm, and there's no risk of dying of cold. There we go. So that's complete. I'm going to assign a family to the woodcutter's lodge. And look at that, guys. Our approval rating is in the positive now. So as long as it is above 50%. Oh, it's back down now. Oh, it's because of the lack of fuel that I have. But anyways, once we have enough wood cutting, once we have enough firewood, we'll be good. But yeah, what I was about to say is, as long as our approval rating is above 50%, we're good. And the higher it is, the higher our approval rating, the faster our empire is going to grow. So, you know, if we're at 50%, we're maybe going to gain, you know, maybe a person or two every month. But if we were at like 80%, and as long as we had enough housing, there is, you know, pretty much always going to be people moving in. So look at that. We got a variety of food stalls. So I think we have, do we have any bread still? Oh, we're completely out of bread, and our people are completely reliant on meat at the moment. So pretty soon here, you know, I think I've overbuilt already because we're going to need 2 extra people in order to operate this trading post. And I really want to start operating this forager hut here, but I think I can. Yeah, okay, so we've hunted all the way to 10 animals, and I don't want to overhunt. So I'm going to unassign this family from the hunting camp and reallocate them to the forager's hut. So they're now going to start to collect some berries. And that's a good thing, because that's going to create more variety in my market here. So then people are going to have the choice between meat and berries for food. And then as you can see in the list there's also eggs. So if I had enough money, I could build a chicken coop, which would have provided a little bit of eggs. But that's okay. We'll eventually get to that. So we're at 50%. It's only a matter of time before somebody else moves into town, at which point I think I'm going to assign them to my trading post and adopt a trading route to sell off things. I can sell off some berries, which is a good option. They don't go for very expensive, but they are replenishing every season. And I doubt I'm going to get through 128 in a whole season. So we can sell off the excess. So there we go. Oh yeah, that's right. Well, I think this might be the last thing I do this episode. So every time that you upgrade your city, which by the way, all you have to do is hover your mouse over the name of your empire here. So Goldhof is our city. Not very French, but it's fine. So we need to have 2 level 2 burgage plots in order to upgrade to the next, to a medium village. So we're a small village now, and we need to get those upgrades to get to the next milestone. And every upgrade or every level up that you achieve, you'll get a development point. And as you can see here, there is a ton of trees that we can go into. So each tree obviously has its own perks and its own bonuses. So let's see what kind of development tree we want to go into. Orchardry is pretty good. Apples are really, really good. They serve as another type of food. Sheep breeding, that's kind of like a mid-game thing. We won't go into that. So is plowing. So I think I might hold off. This is more like agricultural themed. Foreign suppliers, trade logistics. So then this tree has more to do with trade. And then forest management, beekeeping. Doubles the capacity of berry deposits. That might actually be useful. We can do trapping. Lay traps in the forest, which gives a passive income of meat. Oh, okay. But then if I put traps around my animal deposit, is that going to deplete them quicker? Because I don't have a massive meat deposit. I don't have a massive animal deposit. So I don't know. Maybe that'll hurt us. In the past, I tend to usually go with farming. But actually, I'm going to pause the game real quick because we need to look into something. I totally forgot to look into this earlier. When you go into your building menus, there is an overlay menu that comes up here. And this will show you all of your fertility for different kinds of things. So it would be unwise for me to go into farming related technology because I'm not really built up on fertile land here. So oh, I guess you can't see if you zoom out too far, but let me show you here. So this center chunk of land here, you can see that it's pretty much really fertile in any type of farming, but in my case here, I can pretty much grow rye, and that's about it. So I'm really not going to be going into much farming. So, what do I do here, guys? I usually go farming. I've always been lucky, and I usually get some really fertile lands, but that's not going to be the case here. I think I'm going to have to go into some trading a bit more. We're going to have to import a lot of resources, I think. So we could do trade logistics, cost 50% less, or what is this? New building, firewood carts. You know what? I'm going to do trade logistics. Once we start getting into trading, then we'll really be able to take advantage of this. So I think I'm going to call it right about now, guys. We're set up pretty well. This gives you a good idea of, you know, the start of a Manor Lords game. So again, our approval rating is in the positive, so it's only a matter of time before we start getting people into here. We have 7 months of food in our reserve, so we're good for like a really long time now. 4 months of fuel, and we have a healthy stock of all kinds of resources. So basically the only thing to do now is to wait until a new family moves in, and then we can assign them to whatever we want. But I'm pretty happy with the way that we're starting off now. So that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this series, if you want me to continue playing Manor Lords. And certainly don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of future uploads. So guys, until the next episode, take care.